Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So looking at my calendar, there is a possibility that I would not be able to make any videos next month. So this is kind of a video to make up for that. And this video is going to be about my philosophy when it comes to investing for income and how to achieve financial freedom using that route. I keep talking about how I'm just talking to myself, sharing my philosophy and methods, or reminding myself about my philosophy and methods when it comes to investing and how to achieve greater financial security and ultimately financial freedom. And over the years, since 2009, I've done that in my blog. But of course, my YouTube channel is relatively young, and there are many new followers, right, or new eavesdropper, and they are mostly found in my YouTube channel, and they might not know. And I'm sure many of them are interested in my YouTube channel only because of the things I talk about when it comes to specific stocks. People want to know which stocks to buy to make a lot of money, which stocks to buy to get reliable passive income, that kind of thing. But we have to understand that if we are to stand on our own 2 feet, it's important to understand an investor's philosophy and his methods, so that it is not how people give you a fish, but they teach you how to fish, and you can fish for yourself in future and not keep looking out for freebies or free fishies. Right? So over the years I've been asked, so AK, how did you achieve the kind of passive income? How are you able to get the kind of passive income that you get? Now, of course, the simple answer is if you invest this amount of money, you get this percent of yield, you get this amount of passive income. But that's just being perverse. Right? So because that means that if you want the kind of passive income that I have, you must have a very large amount of capital to begin with. But if you've been following me for a long time, you know that's not my story, right? I shared in my blog about how I grew up in a very typical middle-class family that almost went bankrupt, and how we had to move to a 3-room flat where I had to sleep in the living room for a couple of years. Then later on, we move on to a 5-room flat, and then later on we move on to a condo. And I did also live in a 1-room flat. That was when I was very small. I don't remember the details by now. It was a 1-room flat, 1 pool, and that was when I was in kindergarten. I remember I was still staying there when I was in kindergarten. Yeah, so very typical middle-class family, not very rich. I did not get to go to an overseas university or anything like that. I went to a local university on a government scholarship, right? Because my family couldn't afford to send me to university at that time, right? So things only became better after I started working, right? And that's, in a nutshell, my story, right? And people who know me, they know that's the story. But anyway, it's morning, making this video in the morning, and I'm rambling. So let me get to the point, right? The thing is, it is not impossible, I always say, to have the kind of passive income that I have. If you're just a regular person with an annual income of, let's say, 60,000, 80,000, or $100,000, that's very average, and some might even say below average, right? So, and we might not all get $200,000 in passive income by the time we are in our 50s, right? Because all our circumstances are different. We might even draw the same kind of salaries, but what we have 20, 30 years later might be very different, right? We also have different circumstances, we have different financial commitments. So the important thing is not to put ourselves down, because there are people who say, oh, AK has 200K passive income a year. You think you can do it? No, it's impossible. Then they go on to tell you why it's impossible. That's through their own perspective, their own lens, their own financial situation, their commitments that they have. They'll tell you it's impossible, maybe. And if we tell ourselves that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the very important thing to say is that, I might have $200,000+ in passive income a year. I know a person who has $50,000 passive income per month, right? He was a business owner and he sold his business and he made some savvy investments along the way. And he has $50,000 in passive income a month. That's about $600,000 a year. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are about the same age. And so, how do you compare? If I were to compare like this, I'll go and 撞墙死了. Right, bang my head against the wall and die. So the thing is that we do what we can. Don't let other people tell us we can't, that we cannot do it. Even if we were to achieve something like $50,000 in passive income per year by the time we are 50 years old, would you rather have it or not? Or $100,000 per year, would you rather have it or not? Right? It's extra money on top of what CPF Life will pay us by the time we are 65 years old. Right? So, of course, I like to talk about CPF Life because there's a basic safety net for all Singaporeans, right? All CPF account holders, right? So tell ourselves, if AK can do it, so can I, right? The amount of passive income at the end of the day that we get might be different, but that shouldn't deter us from trying, right? Because it is the best way and probably one of the safer ways to ensure that we do get increased financial security and quite possibly achieve financial freedom, right? So I just want to share a few points about how I got to where I am today. I cannot remember all the details. By now I'm 54. I mean, I started investing when I was an undergraduate. So I've been doing this for more than 30 years. So I cannot remember all the details by now, but there are a few points that I can remember, and I'll tell you these are the important points. Number one, it is to become a better saver, right? We have to be very careful with our money, especially if we are just non-normal, regular people. We are not born with silver spoons or some precious metal utensils in our mouth. We have to be more careful with money. We have to become better savers. We must know what our needs, what our wants, right? Keep our needs simple, keep our wants few, right? And you'll be amazed at how fast our savings can grow, right? The thing is that we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need, and we spend too much on things that we want, so if we're able to do that, you realize how fast our savings can grow. I remember when I first talked about this, there were some of my readers in those days, people still read blogs, right? They actually tried. One person gave up Starbucks coffee, and then he said, oh my goodness, I was able to save an extra few $100s per month. And one person who's married with kids said that they started cutting out on dining at restaurants. They used to dine at restaurants like once every 2 or 3 days. They cut it down to like once every fortnight. And he also said, oh my goodness, I'm able to save several $100s per month. And all that amounted to several $1,000s per year. For a middle income family, that's quite a bit of money. I also share a story about how a man discussed with the wife about what are the things that they could cut back on. And they actually did away with a lot of enrichment classes for the kids, which at the end of the day were unnecessary, like piano classes, tennis classes, and all that kind of thing. And he also decided that he didn't need a luxury car, and then he got and that saved him a lot of money as well. Right, so be better savers, be more careful with our money. A penny saved is a penny earned. And it's not just savings per se, because we need capital to invest with. The more capital we have to start with, to begin with, the faster our journey towards financial freedom can be, provided we do the right things with that money and not listen to some people and all into some speculative counter that could go bust, that kind of stuff, right? So, but we still need that capital to begin with, right? So as we make more money over the years, which naturally most of us will do, we make more money over the years, keep our lifestyle the same as before, so that we don't spend more money, we save more money along the way. And that is our capital that we can use to invest with. That's point number one, right? And of course, we can also do some of the things that I did. If you like, or if you think that is acceptable to you, you can explore. I said at one time I held 3 jobs, and there are people who say, oh, crazy lah, work 3 jobs, you die lah. But I also said, I did that for only 2 or 3 years of my life, right? I didn't do it for my entire working life, okay? I worked for 20 years, right? My working life spanned 20 years, but I only held 3 jobs for about almost 3 years of my life. And I said that in my blog too, but it got lost over time, right? And now there's some urban legend that says AK worked 3 jobs his entire life. No, I'm a lazy person. I needed more capital, but I wasn't that crazy, right? And so I was teaching in a private school. I was also teaching I was also tutoring. Those the things that I was able to do given the kind of degrees that I had, right? So depending on what the tools that we have at our disposal, we can do things to generate extra income, right? And of course, for about 10 years or slightly more than 10 years, I can't remember exactly, I was doing trading, right? I taught myself how to trade stocks, right? I remember I said this many times before. For over a 10-year period, I was trading stocks in order to accumulate more capital. And I made about $500,000 in those 10 years. If you're interested in exploring that, go to the library, borrow some books on trading, right? And a very useful tool that I found out to trade is called divergences. Look out for negative and positive divergences. There is a book called Technical Analysis, Plain and Simple, if I'm not mistaken. That one, I would recommend that book if you're interested in technical analysis and how that could make you some extra money, right? But don't rush headlong into the whole idea. You can do some paper trading first and see if your understanding works out nicely, because technical analysis is something that can reward you over a very short period of time, right? And you don't have to be in it holding on to something long term. So you don't have to rush into technical analysis right away. You can do paper trading first. And if you have a proven technique, after doing paper trading for about 6 months to a year, you can start using real money, that kind of stuff, right? So I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. Anyway, so that's point number 1, become better savers, be careful with money, try to make more money. You need more capital in order to get better results, bigger numbers, right? That is for regular people, because if you are some kind of genius who's able to create multi-baggers, like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times your money in 10 years, then of course that's something else, right? I'm sure most of us can't do that, right? The second point is, don't wait too long before starting to invest, right? So you might just be a very good saver. You save a lot of money. Let's say you manage to save like $50,000 a year. Then after 10 years, you save $500,000. Let's say you are able to do this when you are 40 years old to 50 years old, because then what happens is that maybe your children's expenses not so high anymore, in your later years in life. Maybe not even 40 years old, maybe 50 years old, 50 years old to 60 years old, you're able to save $50,000 a year. By the time you're 60, you have $500,000. And if you start investing, then it's kind of a bit late. I wouldn't say it's too late, but it's kind of late, right? But better late than never, but people say, but then you are not going to achieve super results, right? That's why I say, so don't wait for like 20 years before investing for income, or wait for 30 years before investing for income, right? Even if you start with a smaller base, and you get, let's say, 5% dividend per year, that is going to add, that's going to compound, right? And then if you add more over the years at 5, and then you just imagine, this is unrealistic, but if you just get 5% for everything you add and for everything that you already hold over the years, that's going to grow into something more substantial, right? So don't wait too long before starting to invest, right? And the idea is to have our earned income supplemented by passive income, right? So if we wait too long, then of course for all those years that we wait, because you say, I don't have that much money, what's the point of investing? I only have like $50,000 savings. If I invest, I get 5%, 5% only $2,500 a year. Sudah lah, don't want. Hey, please, $2,500 I want, per year. I mean, it sounds like very little, right? But it supplements my earned income. $2,500 can pay for many things in the family. Why not? Right? Even if it's a small sum of money, we should start looking at how to make it work harder for us, right? Then the third point is we must have a war chest ready. So I say that we need all this money, we can invest and get passive income to supplement our earned income. But don't go in all 100% unless Mr. Market is at maximum depression, because that's when you get the best deals, right? You always must have a war chest ready, especially when Mr. Market is feeling super exuberant, very positive about things, and becoming a bit irrational, and thinking that the bull market can run for the next century. That's when we have to be very conservative, very cautious, and start building our war chest, right? Because when opportunity knocks, it's really painful if you don't have the money to take advantage of the opportunity, right? And Mr. Market goes into a huge depression once in many years. He doesn't go into a huge depression on an annual basis. Right? So when that big crash comes, we must have a war chest ready, right, to deploy, right, the money, right? So, and that's one of the main things that I do as an investor, and that has managed to grow my total passive income year after year. And in some years, it grows by leaps and bounds because I invest more when Mr. Market is in a depression, bad depression, right? And the most recent example would be the COVID-19 crisis, right? If you remember. I was interrupted just now because my dad called me, so I had to stop recording. Now I'm doing part 2 of the recording. What did I say just now? Can't quite remember, but I'll just go on to say what I want to say next, and that is something I've always said before, and that there is a there is a place for risk-free, volatility-free instrument in our portfolio. If we're interested in generating regular, reliable passive income, right, risk-free, volatility-free income generating instrument, and the best thing that we can have as Singaporeans is the CPF, right? I know we only get paid when we're 65, a monthly income from CPF Life, but that is something we can totally rely on. And I've made a video on this before about how I expect to get $3,400 per month from CPF Life when my time comes, right? And that $3,400 a month doesn't sound like a lot to rich people, but to regular folks like me, it's a nice sum of money. It pays for many bills. It pays for many things. It pays many bills in my life, right? So we should let the government help to build our retirement fund. I've said that many times before. Why reject help, right? Especially help from the government, right? There's no risk they can never go bankrupt, right? Yeah, I mean, we can believe in the banks, DBS, OCBC, and UOB. Even they are not as highly rated as the Singapore government, right? So there's a place for risk-free, volatility-free instrument in our portfolio. I know that some people don't believe in the CPF, but it has worked for me, and it's something that people who have looked at my story and journey can consider, right, if they are still not making full use of their CPF account, right? How they can top up their special account and enjoy tax rebate at the same time, top up their MediSave account and enjoy tax rebate at the same time, transfer ordinary account money to special account if they don't need the money in the ordinary account for any reason, and that will give them a leg up when it comes to growing their CPF money, their CPF savings, right? So remember that I'm just sharing my experience here and how it has worked for me. Everyone's story will be different. Everyone will have different circumstances. If I were to summarize, I'll say, number one, be financially prudent. Number two, if we have some spare time, we might want to monetize that spare time by using the spare time to make more money. Number three, don't spend more money than we make, right? So try to become better savers. Number four, start investing early because we need time to compound, right, our wealth, right? Number five, invest a lot more during bear markets when Mr. Market's in a big depression. So we must have war chest ready. Then number six, a bit of luck helps. And number seven, accept help from the government. And I'm not referring to the CDC vouchers that they're giving to us. Right. So my journey towards financial freedom, towards creating $200,000 in passive income per year, has not been an easy one. I'm being very honest here. It has not been an easy one, right? But to get to where I am today, for regular folks, it's not easy, but it's not impossible, right? So that's the video I'm putting out, and I hope you have found it useful. If AK can do it, so can you. Bye-bye.